Today, Hollywood stars are closer to us than ever. Thanks to social media, we know about every step they take and word they utter. But there used to be a time when that was different. Before social media, daily paparazzi photos, and hourly gossip news, Hollywood stars were seen as these otherworldly creatures that were unobtainable. That's why when one of them fell, it tended to rattle the whole nation. Let's talk about it. The year was 1965 when the first episode of Hogan's Heroes first aired, and it was an instant hit. It transported the man whose character gave the show its name to instant fame. Bob Crane was a radio DJ before he landed the role of Robert E. Hogan. Hogan was funny, cool, and a womanizer, just like the actor who played him. Bob Crane ate his newfound fame up. He was not known to miss out on anything, whether it was parties, alcohol, and especially not women. The show ended in 1971, and with it, Bob's great fame. 7 years later, he had left Hollywood and moved to Scottsdale, Arizona, where the 49-year-old played at a local theater. During this time, Bob was already on a second wife, but the marriage was known as crumbling. But while Bob might have left Hollywood, he had not left his womanizing ways behind. He was known to constantly watch porn. Today, we would probably classify him as an addict. And he had affairs, many of them. And at some point, he had developed a certain habit. He liked to film his encounters with these women, sometimes with their knowledge, sometimes without it. He even created his own scrapbooks, where he put pictures of the woman he had slept with in. His best friend at this time was a man by the name of John Henry. The two had known each other for years. John worked in the sales department of Sony and Akai. The man had met many years prior, to 1978, when John had sold Bob video and photo equipment. We'll get back to him in a second. It was a hot day in June, not unusual for the state of Arizona. But this day would turn out to be anything but usual. As she later recounted, when actress Victoria Barry arrived at Bob's apartment, the front door stood open, and she immediately saw that there was blood on the door and the handle. Victoria was there that day to go over the script for the next job, but there would be no more script reading for Bob. The woman found her colleague laying in his bed, only wearing boxer shorts. A cable had been wrapped around his throat, and there were 2 gaping wounds in his skull. His pillow was covered in blood, as were the walls and the ceiling. When the police arrived, the detectives immediately noted down that the door hadn't been forcefully opened. So whoever killed the actor, Bob had let him in himself. The murder weapon was most likely a tripod. Bob had owned 2, but the police only found 1 in his apartment. And there was another thing missing. One of Bob's scrapbooks, the ones filled with pictures of his affairs. John Henry Carpenter, Bob's best friend, was suspect number 1 from the get-go. John had been in town to visit Bob, and only hours before Bob's brutal end, the two had been in a loud fight. And the next day, after Bob's body was found, Carpenter fled his hotel to fly back home. But it got even worse for John. The police confiscated his rental car, and in it they found blood that matched Bob's blood type. Unfortunately, back then, DNA tests like today were not a thing, so they couldn't check if it was actually Bob's blood. The case got dropped, and Carpenter insisted on his innocence. He had his own theories. He told the detectives that Bob had so many affairs that he had warned him before, that a jealous husband might come and beat him up one day. Bob's oldest son, Bob Jr., had his own suspect. He very publicly accused his stepmother, Patricia Olson, Bob's second wife, of killing his father. He claimed that she did it for financial gain, because their marriage was crumbling, and in case of a divorce she would have gotten next to nothing. But now that he had died, she would inherit nearly everything Bob owned. Patricia was questioned by the police, but the detectives ruled her out as a suspect. And then the case rested for 12 years, until 1990, when Detective Jim Raines pulled the cold case out of storage and looked through everything again. And he actually found something, in one of the pictures of John Carpenter's rental car. He spotted a mass that, according to him, looked extremely like brain matter. Unfortunately, the evidence had disappeared. Till today, no one knows what happened to that bloody matter that had been taken out of the car. Nonetheless, in 1992, the prosecutor decided to trial John Henry Carpenter for the murder of his best friend. The jurors, though, didn't think that there was enough evidence, and they acquitted the then 64-year-old. The murder weapon and the missing scrapbook were never found, and neither was Bob's killer. John Henry has long since passed away, as has Patricia Olson. But Hollywood wouldn't be Hollywood if they wouldn't profit out of their star one last time. They actually made a movie out of what happened to Bob, called Out of Focus. So what do you think? Was it John that killed his best friend, even though to this day there's really no motive? Or was Bob's sons right and his second wife got her revenge on their unfaithful husband? Or was it the jealous husband that found out about his wife's affair?